And boom, there it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, you're gonna know because sales is just like the most important thing about insurance. And our guest today is going to teach us everything we need to know about the sales process. So tune in, it's going to be a fun one.
The Insurance Pro Show is a podcast for agents who want to grow their agency and be titans of the insurance industry. Learn from a panel of experts who share their agency struggles, their experiences with the nation's best carriers, and share the marketing secrets that successful insurance agents are using today. Now, here's your host, the Insurance Pro, James Cias.
There it is. We're off and running. And
yeah, man,
happy to have you, Steve. Happy to have you. But before I see, I already messed up. Let me just read off this thing and we'll go from there. So all of you insurance pros, let's dive into another fun episode. But before we do, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review. Help other like-minded insurance agents find value from our awesome guests while we rise up in those podcast rankings. I will sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, would love to have you on to learn from you as well. Go to www.insuranceproshow.com/guest to schedule your time slot. Don't forget to follow me on all social media at Insurance Pro Show. Ladies and gents, we're so excited and honored to bring another incredible guest to the Insurance Pro Show. Our guest today is amplifying and changing lives every single day. Through personal experience and testimony from his clients, we've seen time and again the power behind the skill that our guest teaches to others. He is a sales expert extraordinaire, and he is reshaping the way sales training and team development is delivered. Sales is more than simple lead generation and closing. Like every other part of a successful business, there has to be a sales system in place to achieve the highest results. And our guest has just that system. Joining us today from Victory Selling out of Sin City, Las Vegas, welcome to the show, Steve Heroux.
The old days.
The old days? Are you no longer in Vegas?
No, I am, but you can't do that anymore.
So, yeah, the partying.
Yeah, you can't be around people or groups, But yeah, I've been up here.
It's gonna come back.
Yes, 6 months roughly. So middle of the pandemic, moved up here from San Diego. So
man, you moved up there in the summer.
At least we can go places, so that's good. But
what's the strip looking like out there these days?
It's not as busy, but there's still people coming. I think they, want to get out into society, and it's just so tough to hear what happened to all, my Cali peeps in the lockdown and their businesses struggling, and it's just tough to hear, man. But hopefully it's getting back open soon, from what I hear. So
hopefully, fingers crossed. So, Steve, tell us a little bit about Victory Selling, first of all, what it is, and, we'll kind of go from there. Just tell me a little bit about Victory Selling, what you're offering.
Sure. I'm really honored and humbled to be on again. And, my entire goal in life and passion is to really change the way we look at salespeople and the way sales training is delivered. We can be super successful in sales and still be honest and still be down to earth and have humility. You don't have to do all that crap you see on social media and pretend you drive Lambos and look at my watch. Check out this Instagram model I rented. I'm dating. You don't have to do all that stuff, right? It's just, that's not what people want. And especially now during the pandemic. So we've been really busy and blessed to have so many people reaching out now and wanting to learn how to sell the right way. So, we have clients that are individual, sole proprietor, 1099 insurance agents, all the way up to multi-$100 million companies, and we work with their sales team. So I'm just excited to help people really take the anxiety, the fear, the aggression, out of professional selling and make it a profession that people can really respect and be proud of what they do. And still be just a regular dude or gal that wants to be successful in this world.
I think that's one of the big lessons that I'm learning myself, is when it comes to sales, when it comes to when it comes to sales is nothing more than building a relationship with people, right? And when I'm building a relationship with people, it's not going to help me to be fake.
Correct.
Right? So being authentic and being comfortable with, being just me, the, mistake making, curly haired guy that just is here to do my best and help people the best way that I can, that authenticity, that genuine caring is what really helps me sell. But that's only part of it, right? So what does victory selling do to help people really capitalize and like kick ass in sales?
So the biggest thing, if we start just from the very basics and the fundamentals, is creating the system and process, right? That's going to help you do the things you need to do every single day. And practicing what I preach is kind of what I don't see a lot in many industries, right? People that tell you they're the $1 million marketer. You never built a $1 million business, right? They're all over the clubhouse now in every room. Everyone's a millionaire apparently, right? So it's just funny that the lack of authenticity even comes from these gurus, coaches, whatever, that don't practice what they preach. And so one of the things I wanted to build with my selling system that I've worked on for probably a year and a half, and again, you and Hernan are going through it now, that I built this 9-step process. If you just do these things, we're going to be successful. And one of the things, it's funny, I'll show you mine from today. So that's my daily victory game plan from today. Not done with it yet, but 4 appointments you can see there. My calls, my LinkedIn activity. I did my morning hack, right? I did my reading. So there's 18 things that I teach in our system of selling. And if salespeople do those 18 things every day, they're going to crush their business. And this has nothing to do with sales training. This is just helping to create daily habits. And if we create daily habits, we get results. And one of the things I try to do, which is really, again, a 180 of what most trainers do out there, is we don't really focus on goals. And the reason we don't focus on goals is because goals, for the most part, aren't what drives production. And it's the opposite of what every company does and force their sales teams to hit goals. And what are we going to do for quota, Tom, and all that stuff. And the best example I can give you is the Olympics. What's the goal of every Olympic athlete?
To win the gold medal.
How many do they give out per event?
One.
Does that mean that everyone else's goal was shittier? No, everyone's goal was to win the gold. So it ain't the goal that's the problem, because only one dude or one gal wins it. What's the difference between the gold medal winner and everybody else? Habits, daily habits. They have a system. They have a process. And guess what? They executed those habits more than the person that finished 11th. It wasn't the goal that's the problem. But everyone gets tied up into their goals when what you should be changing is your habits, not the goals.
That is interesting. That is super interesting. So the way that I'm looking at it, the way that I'm hearing you, it's like my goals just they're not my why. They're not really the driving factor.
Correct.
And it's really, I should be looking at my habits. What about, other sales skills, like is learning how to close important, or am I going to develop that by practicing the right habits?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And you guys know, as we talked a little bit about it, one of the tools that I use to help salespeople and organizations is called the sales DNA test. And this tool that we use, this evaluation, it's been around for 30 years, and we've done 2.1 million of them collectively. Not me personally, but it reveals so many reasons why people aren't as successful as they should be in sales. And a couple of the things I want to share with you guys in the audience are things we've never even thought of. So one of the things we measure is called the need to be liked. And believe it or not, about 88% of salespeople have a need to be liked by their prospect. And where do we learn that? We've been taught that for decades. People buy from people they like and trust.
Right. Yeah.
Bullshit. Not true.
Wait, what?
It's not true. If your worst enemy showed up today and said, James, I got to get rid of this Ferrari I just bought. I'm getting divorced. I I just have to get rid of it. I just paid $350,000 for it. Give me 20,000 cash and it's yours. There's no tricks, just I need 20,000 in an hour. And
it's
yours.
my worst enemy, yep. Like the person that I hate most.
Yep. But there's nothing wrong with the car. It's perfect. You just happen to be the guy he called and it's yours for 20 grand.
Yeah. Who cares? I'll take it.
Why?
Value.
That's what's missing, right? That's what people don't understand. So do people lean towards somebody maybe if they like and they trust them? Sure. But if the value's there, it's irrelevant. And this is what the top 10% of salespeople understand. See, they would rather prove the value than be their best buddy. Now, the top 10% of salespeople, most of them, they're all good guys and gals. They're down to earth, they're friendly, they're normal, they're charismatic, they're caring, they're empathetic. They're not the idiot posing on his jet and all that crap. That's not the top 10%. Those are all the wannabes. The top 10%ers get 90+% of their business from referrals, from introductions, repeat customers and clients, but they don't need to be liked. They would rather be respected. They happen to mostly be liked. So that's one of the things that most salespeople struggle with. And another one is being comfortable with money. Most people are very uncomfortable with money and having conversations about money.
Yep.
And one of the examples I gave to a client the other day was, if your mom asks you for your social, what's the first question you ask your mom?
Why do you need my social?
It's your mom. What do you But you still don't want to give private information, right? Which is a social, money, budgets. So again, when salespeople ask in a prospecting meeting, hey, James, what's your budget for something like this? Mm-hmm. They don't want to tell you. They don't know who you are, and it's an uncomfortable topic. So how do you get comfortable having those financial conversations with people? That's some of the stuff that we teach. And I think you made a really good point. And by the way, those are 2 of 21 things that we measure in a salesperson to help them realize where their challenges are. With closing, which is also one of them, I think it's probably the most overrated thing when it comes to sales and sales training. Yet every ad, I'm the closer, I'm the hard.
Yeah.
Please give me a break.
Wait. But you're putting it at the bottom of the totem pole?
It's at the bottom and it's under the fucking ground. That's how at the bottom it is.
What?
And I'll give you an example in a sports related analogy. A closer in baseball, right? I don't know if you watch baseball or the audience.
Yeah.
Baseball, right? Who's the best closer of all time? Do you know?
I remember our guy here in San Diego. They used to play Hell's Bells. Yeah, Trevor Hoffman.
I saw him at the airport, and no one knew who he was. And he's just a dude in a flannel. But Mariano Rivera was the best closer in baseball. Played for the Yankees, and I'm a Red Sox fan, and even I know he was the best. When he came in, by the way, he came in to enter Sandman. So nice. When he came in, the game was freaking over. Like, it was over. You ain't getting a hit. You're not scoring a run. Like, it's over, right? Mm-hmm. Your closer is the best pitcher on the team, typically. So again, he's Hall of Fame, right? And you want to win the game, right? You're up 4-3. It's a tight game. You bring in the closer. If Mariano Rivera was on the friggin' Orioles for 15 years, how good would he have been?
Probably not as good because he didn't have the rest of the team to...
It's worse. It's so much worse.
Exactly. So much worse.
You get it? So here's why. You can't use Mariano Rivera if you're down 11-2 in the ninth.
Exactly.
So what matters? The first 8 innings or just the ninth?
The first 8. Yeah.
If you're up 11-2 the first 8 innings, how hard is it to close that game out in the ninth?
Much easier than if it's 4-3.
They bring in, right, the utility guy. You know, when it's 17-1, right? They bring in the utility right fielder to get 3 outs because they don't.
I might raise my hand from the audience and like, hey, I'll go pitch. It's cool.
That's what I mean. So my point is this: if you're up 11-2 in the ninth, any moron can close the game. So what should we be focused on? Only the ninth inning, or actually being ahead and playing a great game in the first 8 innings?
Hell yes.
I've been saying it, Miguel. I've been saying it.
That's right.
Closing should be simple. It's just, where do we go from here, man? That's the close. It's that simple. So if you do a great job building value and you do a great job sharing with people how you can make their life or business easier or better, the rest should take care of itself. You're not going to win every game, right? You don't win every game. So you don't make every sale. So again, it's not like we can control, right, every single thing we do in a sale and have people buy every time. They don't. Sometimes you do the right things and people don't buy. Other times you fuck the whole thing up and they buy everything you have. So we got to do our best to put ourselves in position, right, to win.
60% of the time it works every time.
Every time. What you're talking about, those are the outliers, right? Where you do a great job and you just don't close the sale, or you fuck everything up and somehow they still buy everything. So those are the outliers. But what you're talking about and what you teach through Victory Selling is setting up the habits so that more often than not, you're in that ninth inning up 11-2. Yes. How do we do that in the insurance space specifically? How do we lead with value? This is really a tough one for me personally. I'm not going to talk about everybody else. I know that I'm supposed to sell on coverages, right? That's the value that I bring. But so many times my customers are just looking at that bottom line. Are you going to save me money or not? How do I lead with value? How do I create value for these customers here in the insurance space so that I can have a good, strong 8 innings and close it out easily in the ninth?
Yeah, one of the big things too when it comes to value and really when it comes to insurance is getting people to change, right? Sales is getting someone to change. They're either buying something they don't have or switching carriers from someone they do. So the real question is, how do you get people to change? And how you get people to change is by understanding certain things, the status quo bias, the endowment effect. And what that means is people really overvalue what they have already. And I can prove it to you because, your brother and I, talk about so much in the real estate business and so on. In San Diego, right, the housing market's insane, which you probably know.
Yep.
When you use someone to help you sell your home, what do you call that person?
A real estate agent.
Okay. And their profession is what for a living? What do they do?
They sell.
Okay. So they probably would know more about selling homes than, you would.
Right.
So the real estate agent goes to the homeowner and says, hey, we got all the comps. I know everything, every part of freaking Mission Valley. Here's the comps. Your place is worth $550. Okay, we're going to list it at $550. And the homeowner, who doesn't know shit about anything, says, man, I want to list it for $625.
Yeah.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
I know you've been selling home for 20 years. I know you got $1 billion in volume. I know you come so highly recommended, but you know what? I'm going to go with my opinion. What causes that is called the endowment effect. It's mine, so it's worth more.
Because I put this work into it. I upgraded this.
Apple tree in the backyard. We got the apple tree. Yeah, but
do you see that view from the deck?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the deck. I painted it purple. Did you notice that? Because that's got to be worth something. No, it's not. But people value what they have, even if it's not valuable. So you can't just use facts, i.e., our price is better. Doesn't matter. It's what I have. So there are certain things we teach about how to get people to change, how to get people to move. And I kind of give you this really cool example I heard on Rogan's podcast. And it's from Ed Milet, which you probably know who Milet is.
I was actually listening to his podcast today. But
yeah, and I heard this, probably 3 months ago before I even started teaching a lot of this stuff. So Mylette went to the doctor and he told this story, and the doctor looks at his EKG or whatever he looked at and goes, I can't even believe I'm looking at the EKG of a man your age. And he
That
goes,
doesn't sound good.
yeah. He goes, well, what do you mean? And the doctor said, let me ask you a question. You have any kids? He goes, yeah. He goes, daughters? Yeah, Bella, she's 5. The doctor says, would you like to see Bella, or would you like to walk Bella down the aisle when she gets married? And he said, yeah, of course I would. He goes, if you don't change what you're doing, there's going to be some other dude walking her down the aisle and going home with your wife.
Got nice video there.
And it was so cool that he told that story. And he goes, from that day, I haven't missed a workout. I eat right, all of that.
Boom.
But why? See, most doctors will go, oh, Ed, you know what? You got to stop smoke. You got to stop drinking. You got to stop eating pizza. You got to blah, blah, blah. When you tell people to do something, they don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
When you show them the cost of inaction, it gets people to move.
Yep.
And that's what that doctor did, which was brilliant. So he told that story, and that's how we have to sell. Right?
I love that. I'm going to repeat that. When you show people the cost of inaction, that's what gets them to move.
Yep. Yeah. Two things, really, guys. It's the cost of inaction, right? And if we don't move, and this is kind of on the personal side, but if you guys have ever seen the show like Intervention, before, right? Mm-hmm. With drug addicts, alcohol, right? Ism and stuff like that. What is an intervention? Well, an intervention is the burning of the bridge, right? It is the last chance, right? People read the letters, right, to their son or daughter, and they go, listen, man, if you don't go to rehab right now, you have no mom. I will never talk to you again. You can't come over. You can't see your kid. Nothing, right?
Right.
So that is partly, right, revealing the cost of inaction, but it's also partly burning the bridge, meaning there's no going back from here. This is it. You can't go back, meaning no more drugs, no more alcohol. You're going to rehab right now, or else. So that's what the whole burning the bridges comes from, right? In military warfare from 1,000 years ago.
Right.
They didn't say burn the bridge or burn the boats, right? Because there'd be no way to get back across the other side. What the generals were trying to do was to change the mindsets of the soldiers. And in their minds, they go, holy crap, we can't, we're all in.
We have to be. We have to be. There's no going back at this point.
It wasn't a tactical, right? It was a mental thing.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's some of the stuff and some of the ways we can help people move, right? And help people create, this process of selling that's more than features and benefits and prices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love it. I love it. So a lot of what we've been talking about right now is for the individual who needs a coach, needs a sales system that they want to learn so that they can improve their own personal sales. I want to pivot a little bit and let's talk about organizations.
Sure.
Right. I'm the CEO of our branch of Pipeline Insurance. So one of my jobs is to increase our revenue. Right. Like I got to get people to, I got to create leads.
Yeah.
So is this part of the system? Is this something that I can learn through Victory Selling, is how to get out there and start getting people to know what I am or what I'm doing, and how do we, once we have these leads, let's say that I generate all these leads, how do I convert that to a close throughout my team?
So teaching this kind of system of selling, which again, you guys are just learning how it works in my 9 steps. I want it to be world-class. So if I want to be world-class, I have to use world-class tools. So you guys have already been on the Lightspeed system. So Tony Robbins, John Maxwell, Damon John, Belfour, all these men and women, right? They believe that we need a not just a course, but a system, right, of training, of practice, of repetition, and of accountability. And that's what all my content is on. So when people go through all of the curriculum, they don't just go through it once. They go through it multiple times over and over again. Just like a treadmill, one of my mentors says training is not something you did, right? It's something you do. So all of my clients that are constantly re-watching all the lessons and all the strategies and processes, because they can just log in and go and watch, and then they get to track, again, their results. So you can see how you're doing in the lessons. How are you passing the quizzes? Are you implementing what you just learned? But the cool part for somebody in your position is you get to see that your team is watching, learning, and passing.
Nice.
See, what most organizations don't have is accountability. It's literally almost zero. So that's why a lot of salespeople don't succeed, because they don't hold themselves accountable. Their leaders don't hold them accountable, and the leaders don't hold themselves accountable. So there's kind of 3 layers, right, in this lack of accountability, because we always have to inspect what you expect. And
I'm gonna stop you really quick here.
yeah.
So accountability.
Yeah.
How is accountability factored in? Because if I'm the boss, if I'm the CEO, and I have access to this course and I'm not doing it, or I have people on my team and they're not doing it. What are the accountability factors? What can I do to make sure that I keep people on track or keep myself on track? And how does Victory Selling provide that?
Sure. The first question I want to address in terms of sales meetings and content themselves. So do you know what percentage of salespeople say that they find their sales meetings valuable or extremely valuable?
I'd say it's probably low. 3%?
3%. So you wonder why salespeople don't go to sales meetings? Because there's no value, right? They're not going to come. So the first step is creating something of value that they'll want to come to. So that's what I spent a year and a half building. So I feel like my content is at that point where it's entertaining, it's engaging. They're seeing me on film with graphics, with data, with quizzes. It keeps them engaged, but all my lessons are 4 to 6 minutes. So we get much more participation and accountability because they're not sitting in front of some lecture or somebody talking over PowerPoint in some course for an hour. So we already have built-in accountability because there's value there. The other thing is they know people are watching. So if you hired a personal trainer and you were there with them and they're watching you do push-ups and crunches and squats and all that shit, you can't fake it because they can see it.
Right.
So all the folks that we have on the system, the salespeople know their managers can see if they're doing the lessons. So it's already a built-in accountability where they know they're going to be checking. So it's important to understand that just like you would in a regular job, if somebody punches a physical time clock, right? They know when you show up, they know when you leave. That's why they have time clocks in old school businesses, right? They don't just trust somebody to come to work, right? You punch it in when you get to the shop. You punch out when you get out of the shop. That's the whole reason that was started. But we don't have any of that with sales teams. Sales teams are allowed to run amok. And especially since they're all virtual and remote now,
right?
Very few CEOs, leaders, VPs know what their salespeople are doing every day because there's no accountability. This system allows us to do that, and we can track all of those things they're doing. And the best part is when they do them and they do these, game plans and all this stuff, and they see results, they're like, holy crap, I'm going to keep doing this. Not because somebody told them they had to do it, but because they're getting value out of doing it.
Got your victory dance? Well, I got it right here. Yeah.
The victory dance for victory selling.
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
Man. Wow.
Well, Steve, before we head out, I want to first of all thank you for coming on the show, bringing lots of value as always. I mean, I've only seen like the tip of the iceberg of your course. I've had access to it for a little while now, and I need to definitely dive into it. But for everybody else that's out there that wants to get a piece of this, because it's obvious that between what you've talked about here today, the testimonials that we've seen from people all over that have talked up victory selling so much, I mean, this is a valuable system. So tell people how they can get a hold of you and how they can sign up to be part of the victory selling course.
Yeah, sure thing, man. So I was just telling you before when we started working on so much of this back end content, making sure everything is working fine and everything's in there the way we want. But if you go to Victory Selling System, that's an easy one. You'll see a bunch of stuff on there, a bunch of content, testimonials. We'll still got to get all ours on there too. But there'll be a little section where you can scroll down to where it says individual salespeople, and you just click on it, Victory Sales Accelerator. That's the first step. And it's a whopping $397. So, but by the way, all my coaches think I'm insane because they're like, why aren't you selling this for $5,000? And, all these other people do. I'm like, listen, man, half that stuff is garbage anyway. And listen, if people see value in what we do and what we teach, they're going to tell a bunch of other people. We had somebody actually last night, another former Aflac person. You guys know I train tons of Aflac people, but this gal called me up and she's enrolled in it already. She goes, Steve, I've been through the first course. I have 4 referrals for you. She's only been through 1 lesson. So I just like to provide as much value as I can. And if somebody pays $400 for something and says, Steve, I would have paid $4,000, then I know I'm on the right track. So
hell yeah.
That's about it, guys. You want to connect on Instagram, right? At the Steve Heroux. You can look me up on there. LinkedIn's always important for us in the business world and insurance. So I'd love to connect with you on there as well. So thanks, man, again, for having me on, and appreciate you.
Yeah, no, thank you. And that's Steve Heroux, Heroux.
You got it, man. That's it, brother.
Cool beans. Well, thanks again, Steve. Really appreciate you coming on. Learned a lot from you, and looking forward to finishing up that course. Not just once, not just twice. I'm not going to treat it like a treadmill where I run once and all of a sudden I'm fit. No, it doesn't work that way.
As long as you want, man. So we just got to keep training and studying and learning and getting better. And I'm excited to hear what you think.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Everybody else, thank you all so much. If you found value in today's show, really please would love to get a subscribe, like, follow, review from you. So be sure to check us out. Thank you, Paul, for tuning in. Other than that, don't forget to follow me. Don't forget to follow me on all social media at Insurance Pro Show. And if you want to be a guest on the show, www.insuranceproshow.com/guest. Thank you all very much. As always, you rock my socks. You have my heart. So please have a night.
Have a nice day.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you for tuning in to the Insurance Pro Show. James is the CEO of the Pipeline team of San Diego and is always in the market for top talent. If you're an agent looking for a place to hang your license, visit www.pipelineinsurance.com/agent opportunities or send an email to newagent@pipelineinsurance.com. Look for James on all social media